Good morning and welcome to the fourth webinar of the second generation of Eurocode 8. This series of webinars is organized by the European Association of Earthquake Engineering through its Working Group 12 with the aim of showing to both scientific and professional communities the changes and innovative technical aspects of the second generation of Eurocode on earthquake engineering. Today, we're presenting part 4, focus on silos, tanks, pipelines, towers, masts, and chimneys. Let's quickly recap the previous webinars in this series. The first webinar covered part 1.1, which discussed general rules and seismic action, and took place on the 30th of March last year. The second webinar, held on the 8th of July 2022, explore into part 5, geotechnics. Lastly, the third webinar presented part 1.2, buildings, and was conducted on the 24th of January this year. We are pleased to inform you all that webinars in this series are being recorded and will be available to everyone. So you can access the webinars remotely from our website, where you will find the videos and PDF presentations for each part. We are delighted to show the response of this very specific webinar with over 220 registrations. Although the majority of participants are from Europe, we are delighted to have received registration from other countries outside Europe. So as you can see, you have basically Germany, Italy, and France leading the way in terms of higher registration numbers. So today's Butenweg, professor for technical mechanics and structural engineering at the Hagen University of Applied Science and leader of project team 5. The shares of this webinar will be introduced in detail to Professor Butenweg. Joining him in the coordination is Fabrizio Paolacci, which at the same time will be sharing the webinar along with Marco Marikovic. Fabrizio Paolacci is Associate Professor in Structural Engineering at Rome Tre University, Italy. His main scientific interests are focused in risk assessment and mitigation strategy for civil and industrial infrastructures subjected to natural hazards. He has gained a long-standing experience dealing with seismic risk of industrial facilities, acquiring specific expertise about the static and dynamic response of industrial equipment. He also acquired an important professional experience within a wide consulting activity for major worldwide players, working, for example, in one of the biggest upstream plants in Europe. He is currently the chair of Working Group 13 of European Association of Earthquake Engineering, devoted to the seismic assessment, design, and resilience of industrial facilities. Marco Marikovic is assistant professor at the University of Belgrade, Serbia, where he teaches dynamics of structures and earthquake engineering, stability of structures, and special topics of earthquake engineering. The field of scientific and professional work is related to the seismic analysis of structures, both reinforced concrete and masonry, as well as steel structures. He is the president of the Learning from Earthquakes Committee of the Serbian Association for Earthquake Engineering. In the context of European Association of Earthquake Engineering, is a member also of the Working Group 13, and he has been a member of the project team of SIN TC 250 Eurocode 8. So with that, I would like to conclude the open session, and the presentations for the different parts will begin shortly. Enjoy and actively participate in today's webinar.
Thank you, Rita, for very much for the introduction. Let me thank in particular also the European Association of Electrical Engineering and the Working Group 12, Continuing Education and Professional Development, coordinated by Professor Rita Benton, for promoting the strategic activities and the dissemination of this second generation of Eurocode 8, just after, well, 20 years for the first generation. And so thank you, Rita, for this very hard work done. I would like also to thank all the outstanding speakers of today for having contributed to the advancement of the Eurocode 8 Part 4 that Rita recall us are on silos, tanks and pipelines, towers, masts and chimneys. And finally, let me thank all the participants of the webinar, hoping to have a large participation to the question and answer sessions. It's very important activity of this webinar. My name is Fabrizio Paolacci. As Rita recall you, I'm from Roma University, and I'm very happy to coordinate this session with Professor Marco Marinkovic for University of Belgrade. Thank you, Marco. And I'm very happy because I'm currently coordinating also the activities of the Working Group 13 on the seismic assessment, design, resilience of industrial facilities. That is, as you know, is a very hot topic of these last years. So thank you very much for this invitation. So let me start looking at today's program. It's very rich, as you can see here. We will have the, well, 6 webinars. The first one on the general review of European Eurocode 8 Part 4 with the speakers, Professor Christoph Butenweg, and then the same speaker will show us the content of the part Eurocode 8 Part 4 dedicated to silos and pressure function of tanks. Then we will have the webinar number 3 on the rules of tanks offered by Professor Roberto Nascimbene. And after a break of 15 minutes, we will have the next webinar concerning the above ground by pipeline from Charles Fernandez. Then the other last 2 webinars will be dedicated to ancillary elements in industrial facilities and tower, nuts and chimney, offered by Professor Dimitrios Vanmastikos. I will introduce deeply all the speakers during the webinars, but please, before this, let me explain the rules of the question and answer session. After each presentation, the question and answer will be open, and me and Mark will have the pleasure to moderate. So we invite the audience to write questions in the chat. In this way, it would be easier for us to gather all the questions and post them to the speakers. This will be faster for us. So please type your question during the speech and just after. Before writing a question, don't forget to identify yourself, or writing your name and affiliation, of course. Of course, it will be a pleasure as a chair of this question and answer session to convey all the questions to the speakers. I think that more or less this is the introduction of this very exciting webinar. So I think that we can move to the first webinar